Welcome to Movie Life Crisis. Join us as we watch the best movies from 30 years ago.
You know what the greatest nation in the world is, don't you? Donation.
Simon Wilder is a scholar of the streets.
Are you a student? No, I'm a bum. But bear in mind, I'm a Harvard bum.
Who gives 4 Harvard students
We're roommates and we respect each other's space.
a reason to open their hearts.
If a woman is willing to give you her love, it's the greatest gift in the world.
Joe Pesci, Brendan Fraser, Moira Kelly,
That boy didn't go to Harvard for nothing.
with honors, rated PG-13. Sneak preview Saturday, April 23rd.
Boy, oh boy, Harvard.
Boy, oh boy, Harvard.
That's
dude,
great.
It kept throwing me out of the movie how the only music, the only score was just freaking that same motif from that Madonna song.
Yeah.
Like, it was clear the whole time. They're like, we got a Madonna song coming up later. You guys are going to like it.
Yeah, I didn't realize why there was a Madonna song in there. Then the guy who directed it directed one of her things, and then that's why he asked her.
Yes.
So that's why it's in there. And I remember that. I mean, not to be too punny, but I remember that song.
the Madonna song.
But
I'll remember.
I didn't remember like listening to it a lot. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
dude, I never listened
listened
to a lot of Madonna. I was always confused when people were like, Madonna, she's the best. I was like, what?
She's got some jams, but she's not.
Yeah, she
She's
does.
not my favorite. She's not my favorite.
Yeah. Movie Life Crisis, last movie of 1994 with honors.
That's what I'm talking about.
26
Dude,
on the year.
You know what? Those last couple of movies we did were pretty big movies,
Yeah.
and then this one's not so big.
Slightly smaller. A slightly smaller movie here.
I'm
Brendan
glad
Fraser.
we did it.
Joe Pesci, Moira Kelly. Me too, man. I always loved this movie, and it did not disappoint. Right, real quick. End of the year stuff. We got Scrooged out on Patreon. We got Beetlejuice out on Patreon from 1988. We're going to do Die Hard on Patreon. You can do a free 7-day trial of Patreon if you're doing holiday travels and you want extra stuff, but you want to pay for it. Or if you want to support the arts, $5 a month get you all the
Support the arts.
get you all the bonus movies.
Yeah.
We'll also, after this movie, we'll do our year-end wrap-up, our award show, our knockoff Oscars, the Nathans. And we'll tell you all our favorite moments from the podcast movies, like freaking best soundtrack and best actor and all that fun stuff. And we're in 95 movies, like real quick, like probably first week of January. And there's so many, like Jeff's list has 47 movies on it.
Yeah,
Spoiler
it's
alert.
hard to cut. It's hard to cut.
We're
it
not
down.
going to get to 47, but there's so many good ones.
We're not. Dude, that 7-day trial's no joke either, huh? That guy that sent the John that sent us the email.
Yeah.
He checked out the 7-day trial and he likes it. So you tell your friends.
I made a note actually. It was a shout out to listener John who emailed to tell us how much he's enjoying listening to the podcast with his wife on road trips, and also shout out to his road trips because they're doing stuff like renting a DeLorean to go drive it up to Doc Brown's house or stay in the room that Phil Connor stays in Punxsutawney.
That's so great, man.
That's ridiculous.
That's so great.
That's so awesome. But anyway, I mean, With Honors is a movie that you and I both liked, and because it's snowing in a lot of it, we're like, we'll put it at the end of the year. It's getting kind of cold. Makes sense.
That's why we did it. Dude, for reals, I was like, oh, wait. Before I did it, I pulled up the that first little chunk of questions we always have, like budget and stuff like that. I pulled it up just to get it in my head before I start. And, man, I was like, this didn't make a lot of money. Did we mess up by doing really big movies like Shawshank and Forrest Gump, and then now we're doing this? But I don't think so, man. This movie's like, if you haven't seen it, they need to see it, and the people who have seen it knows why we still did it. They had to.
Dude, it's a fun movie, and honestly, the truth is about our podcast listeners is that some of our bigger episodes are not for great movies. Like Time Cop did as many listeners as The Lion King did. So who can say?
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, man, it's really fun. Give us a synopsis.
Synopsis with honors. By the way, what would you put this as? A comedy drama?
That's what Wikipedia has it as, and I think that's
does
fair.
it? Okay, yeah. So 94 comedy drama featuring Joe Pesci as Simon Wilder, a homeless man, and Brendan Fraser as Monty Kessler, a Harvard student whose senior thesis falls into Simon's hands. The film explores their evolving relationship as Simon offers life lessons in exchange for basic necessities. I almost changed that because I didn't feel like that was exactly what it was, but then the more I thought about it, it kind of is. He's trying to help him be less Harvard-y. Harvard-y is if that's a word.
Yeah, why not?
Because he's really into it. He doesn't hang out with people, doesn't like doing stuff, and he's very uptight. Joe Pesci's exactly what he needed.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, it's kind of cliche, where it's like, oh, the homeless man has all this pithy wisdom, and he tells the Harvard students that there's more to life than studying.
Right.
But also, I don't care. I love it.
Yeah. But dude, for reals, Joe Pesci, Brendan Fraser, literally two of my favorites, and they're hanging out the whole movie. What's not to love?
I couldn't find the budget for this one. I didn't see it reported anywhere. I don't know if you saw it, but I got...
No, I couldn't find it either.
I got $20 million for the gross, number 69 on the year. Nice. Between Only You and The Professional. Remember that movie with Natalie Portman?
Yeah.
Luke Besson.
With the French guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I forgot about that movie.
There's a bunch of movies this year we didn't get to, honestly. We were just talking before the podcast about podcasts that are similar to ours because we got the Spotify Wrapped. It's like other people that do stuff like you or these people. It's like they're doing a lot. Like they have like 25,000 Patreon subscribers. Like if we had,
they got more
Patreon,
time and money than we do.
If we had the Patreon support to be able to do this instead of our regular jobs, we'd definitely be doing more movies. Because
we'd blow
totally
through a bunch
down.
of them. Yeah.
Awards other than the Madonna song?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. No, the "I'll Remember" song got to number 2. It got some nominations for the Golden Globes and Grammys, but no winners. So no awards.
But that is the award from this movie: is the Grammy nomination and the Golden Globe nomination for the song that plays over the credits.
Yeah.
Sequels and spinoffs? No, not so much.
No.
Do you remember when and where you first saw this?
Dude, I own this on DVD. That's how I watched it. So
yeah.
I know at one point I watched it on DVD because it was already open. It wasn't one of those 550 bin ones that were still sealed in plastic, and I just had it in the thing under the bed. But, dude, I feel like this was one of those, I caught it on HBO one time and watched it and loved it and tried to watch it again or bought it after that kind of thing. I don't remember. I didn't see it in the theater. This wasn't a theater thing for me.
I saw it a lot, but I don't know if I owned it. I might have owned it on VHS, but I think I just probably rented it, like, frequently. But I might have owned a copy of this on VHS like back in the day because I remember like really liking it, and I remembered almost all of it. There was no part where I was like, I forgot about that guy. I was like, I remembered all of it.
Yeah, me too. So since you liked it, where do you put it?
I was thinking about it because it got absolutely hammered by critics when it came out. It didn't make a ton of money. The director and screenwriter basically never worked again. I mean, they kind of did, but like neither of them ever did another screenplay that got made.
Right.
But I like it. I was talking about this with friends last night. Yes, it's true. I have friends. I am completely susceptible to emotional manipulation from TV and movies. It always works on me. And not only does it work, but I know that it's happening and I don't even care. I love it. Yeah. So, like, I know it's cliche and, like...
That's a very great way to say exactly
it's, like, not subtle.
And
I was like, I thought it was funny and sad and it's interesting. I liked the whole thing. I was tearing up at the end when Brendan Fraser read Joe Pesci's character's self-written obituary standing next to his casket.
Yeah.
Freaking... So, like, I gave it an 8 out of 10 because I was not going to put it in the 6s. I think it's great.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. I don't know if it just... It hit me right at the right time, at the right mood or whatever. I really liked it a lot, dude. Well acted, well written. It had humor. It had feeling. It had two of my favorite actors hanging out together. I actually gave it an 8.5. I would definitely watch this again.
I 100% would watch this again. The crazy thing is that I don't read the reviews or the critical stuff before we record because I don't want to be swayed. But when I just pulled up the movie, that stuff just kind of pops up in the bottom corner. It's like critics gave it a 1.9 out of 10. I was like, they're crazy. There's no chance.
What is this?
So, but I'm thinking that in the back of my mind as I'm watching, I'm like, I don't get it. Like every scene is like the dialogue's good and the performances are really good and it's funny and all the characters are interesting and they're saying fun like smart stuff. I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
There's no part that was boring to me.
Right, and it's quick. It's like 100 minutes or something like that. Like
Yeah, like hour and 40. I even watched it because it's available for streaming on, I think, Amazon Prime.
Oh, nice.
So I had to watch it with 1 2-minute and 30-second commercial break, but that was it. So even with the commercial break, I was like, this thing's moving.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why it would get bad reviews. What's the IMDb rating? Hang on, I got it right here. 6.7.
Yeah, and the
IMDb.
Cinema Score rating from viewers is much higher, but the critics were like, this thing's dumb, I hate it. Probably because a lot of them went to Harvard and they're mad.
Or they went to, what's the opposite of Harvard that everybody, Yale? I don't know.
I was going to say the opposite of Harvard, Southeastern, where you and I went.
No, like, you know how, like, somebody says, like, oh, did you go to Harvard? No, I went to Princeton. Like, those types of things. Maybe that's where a lot of these guys went to college, and that's why they're mad.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not Episcopalian, I'm Presbyterian. It's like, all right, whatever. It's all the same white nonsense.
First Baptist or Second Baptist?
First Baptist, of course. What's your favorite first best scene?
When they go, so Simon is kind of hanging out now with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah,
He's
Joe
walking
Pesci's
around with
homeless character.
Yeah, sorry. Joe Pesci's homeless character, Simon, is hanging out with Brendan Fraser's character. And they go to the library together. He gets him the book that he was reading before. And Joe Pesci starts telling him about how, like, he thinks of the library like a church, and how he's, like, you always see the people at church and you wonder what they're praying. I look up and try to think about what they're praying. And then he starts to look around and he starts to try to make himself look presentable. And he's like taking off his big coat and he's pulling up his pants that are tied together with like a piece of twine.
Right.
And like he's like dusting off his jacket and he's pulling on the lapels and he's pushing his hair down. Then he realizes he doesn't have his glasses on. He has to put those on. He fixes it just so. And he's sitting there and he's looking around at all the people while he's reading, while they're all reading. And he like goes from being like, okay, I could fit in here. I could do this. And the whole time he's touching his hair, he realizes how greasy it is and how, like, he hasn't had a bath in a while. So he offers, I'll give you 2 pages if I could just have a bath. Like, how he goes from, I can do this, to being vulnerable and asking for that. Joe Pesci killed it. Like, knocked it out of the park good, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I
Dude,
thought he did such a good job at this.
I thought he was great, and it's weird because I was trying to think. I'm like, when's the last time we saw Joe Pesci on the podcast? It was My Cousin Vinny. It was 2 years ago.
My Cousin Vinny, yeah.
I was like thinking about, because he didn't really do anything between now and then. He did, but they came out at kind of the same time.
Yeah.
I'm like, to go from freaking Vinny to this homeless guy's actually, like, I think Joe Pesci's got underrated acting chops.
Yeah, no, dude, Joe Pesci's good. I love me some Joe Pesci. Yeah, so I went with that one because I like their interaction and I like how he played it.
One of my quotes is from that scene. My first scene is, and these are not necessarily in order. Well, hang on, let me flip them around. They'll be in order. My first scene is when he goes to court. Brendan Fraser's fucking drops his thesis. It falls down a grate and it lands in the boiler room where Joe Pesci's squatting. And then Brendan Fraser calls the cops, and then he's trying to get his dissertation back, but it's not there. And so there's a scene where Joe Pesci goes to court with a bunch of other, as he would say, bums. And the judge is like, she's like, you're charged with vagrancy and trespassing and public intoxication. And Joe Pesci's freaking arguing with the judge.
I am of legal age. Like,
he's like, what about trespassing? He's like, Harvard is a land grant school, so technically I was on public property. He's like, all right, I'll dismiss the vagrancy. He's like, what about public intoxication? He's like, at the time I was in my residence. I'm of legal drinking age. If I want to have a few drinks to chase away the winter chill, I don't know what I've done wrong.
Yeah.
But it's like, was one of the first times you could see that this is clearly the world's most educated, well-spoken bum.
Yeah, and he's traveled around. He's seen some stuff. He's got some life experience. He knows what's up.
Dude, all of it. I always love when it's like, this guy is more than meets the eye. He's going to go in front of the judge and make him look silly.
Right, and dude, the best part is he's winning.
Yeah,
he's winning the whole thing, and he turns around and he was like, oh, and you think I thought he was going to be an asshole? Dude, that's freaking great.
Yeah, and then the judge finds him contempt of court, and then Brendan Fraser pays the fine. But now Joe Pesci really is homeless because the place he was sleeping he's not allowed to go back to.
Right.
But yeah, that was my first one when they were in court.
Yeah, that's actually my second one. No, that's not the courtroom. The one where my second one is when he's in the classroom.
Yep, that's my second one as well.
Yeah, when he's talking to the teacher, Mr.
He's talking to Professor Pitcairn, played by Gore Vidal.
Yeah. And he's talking. Well, the professor's doing that lecture thing where he just walks in a circle, or in the big horseshoe place full of pews, and asks questions of people.
Yeah, and then if you want to answer the question, you have to stand up while everyone else is sitting down. They don't do that at Southeastern. That's not how the lectures go.
Yeah,
but,
I don't want any piece of that.
And then the professor, if you don't answer right, which no one does, he makes fun of you by being really sarcastic, and then you have to sit down in front of everyone else. Sit down in front of your friends. You messed that one up.
Sit down. K-A-T, I'm out of here. I know there's two T's.
Speaking of, I don't know if Gore Vidal is how you say his last name. I just say that way because that's how you say Vidal Sassoon. If you don't look good, we don't look good.
Yes, I don't know if that's how you say it either, but I do like that. Dude, when this is another one of the things where I'm like, Joe Pesci might have acting chops for reals.
Yeah.
Because he does the thing. He's like, you asked the question, son, now let me answer it. And he goes through the whole.
Yeah, because the professor's like making fun of the bum because Brendan Fraser tries to answer the question. He gets it wrong. And Joe Pesci's like, I told you not to volunteer Harvard. I said, just sit there. And then the professor's like, you, sir, maybe you want to talk. And so they're exchanging witticisms, and Joe Pesci's giving it right back to him.
Right. But when he goes through and he's like, our founding parents were pompous white middle-aged farmers, and but they're also great men, and like he's dropping it. But as he gets to the end of it, you can hear him like running out of breath and wheezing when he's saying it. Because while I was watching it, the only DVD player's on my computer, so I was watching it with headphones on, and I don't think I've ever listened to it this loud. And dude, like you can hear him like getting to the end of sentences, and he's wheezing, and he's having trouble getting through it. And I was like, Jesus, man, Joe Pesci's playing the shit out of this.
Yeah,
he was doing a really good job. That for me, that was the next best scene.
That's the number 2 that I got there as well. I think that's all. I like that he's like going right at the professor, and which then like immediately becomes like kind of infamous on Harvard because one of the Brendan Fraser's roommates is played by Patrick Dempsey, and he's like the college radio DJ, and he's like telling everybody he's like the Slayer of Pitcairn. He's like Walt Whitman hiding in the library, and he's interviewing Joe Pesci on the radio later on
with his cock in a cage.
Yes.
Those jokes were horrible. So what's your third one? If that's we have the same second one, we might have the same last one.
My third one is the graveside.
Yeah,
like
the obituary.
Brendan Fraser's. It's at the end of it. He's Joe Pesci has mesothelioma. He might be entitled to a whole lot of cash.
Niagara Falls, Frankie boy.
They didn't say mesothelioma, but he said he inhaled a lot of asbestos while he was working in the shipyards. And I was like,
when
you
they
should
were
call
making
somebody.
it, when they were sailing it.
He's entitled to a whole lot of cash. There's infomercials about that all the time. He should dial the number. There's going to be a class action lawsuit.
His son and his wife is also. This isn't a lawsuit against the company that he works for.
Yeah. If anyone you know has experienced these symptoms or been exposed. But yeah, so he dies at the end from mesothelioma.
Spoiler.
Presumably. And then he writes his own obituary, and so the only people at his burial are the 4 roommates, Moira Kelly and Brendan Fraser and Patrick Dempsey and the 4th guy. And Josh Hamilton.
Josh Hamilton. And the 4th guy.
Our other daughter, Dottie's sister, went a date with Todd Hamilton's younger brother, Tad Hamilton. But Brendan Fraser reads Joe Pesci's Simon Wilder's self-penned obituary, and I was freaking losing it.
Yeah, me too. Dude, all right, so 2 things. One, he asked him to read the obituary first when he's like writing it, and he's in, he's in Bali's room upstairs, and he's writing it, and he doesn't have a lot. It's just like he leaves behind a wife and a son, and, that's where it stops.
Yeah.
And then like Brendan Fraser tells him like, you should say stuff that you're proud of and stuff like that. And then by the time it gets to that part, I'm already like, sad because he just died, and I'm freaking like, who? Where? I'm not crying. You're crying. Where's the Kleenex? I don't.
I'm also sad because he just went to visit his grown son, who he just ran out on, and the son is understandably furious with him and doesn't really want to meet him. And he like sees his granddaughter for just a second, and he's tearing up, and I'm tearing up, and then the next scene is like he's freaking dead, and they're reading his obituary.
Yeah, it's
and that shit hit me.
And he tried to run off and
die in the woods like a
die
dog.
in the woods like the dog that he just told the story about. That's just who writes this? What's wrong with them? That's
what I'm saying, dude. This movie's good.
Yeah, dude, and I like how not only does he talk about in that thing, he's like, saw the world through like the porthole of a leaky freighter, and like he's a collector of memories, I think is what he says. And he makes sure to say that he like lectured at Harvard or interrupted a lecture at Harvard or something like that.
Right.
And then he talks about all of he's survived by his family, and he talks about Brendan Fraser, Moira Kelly, Patrick Dempsey, and the other guy, and the fourth guy. Dude, that's freaking great. When he gets to the part where he's like, who will graduate life with honor and without regret, I was like, man, what's wrong with y'all?
Dude, and Brendan Fraser's laying it down, like he's choking up, and everybody's choking up, and I'm choking up. That shit was awesome.
Yeah, good movie. That's my emotional climax is the third thing for me too.
Yeah. What's your first quote?
The first quote is the one that I always think of when I think of this movie, and it's when Courtney, I think is Moira Kelly's name.
Kelly.
Yeah, she needs to borrow a razor, and she's in the shower behind the opaque shower curtain, and she's shaving her legs, and she calls in Brendan Fraser, and he's standing there talking to her through the shower curtain. She sticks her head out, and then she's shaving her leg, and he walks out, closes the door, and he's like, I've never wanted to be a razor so bad in all my life. Dude, I don't know why that one sticks in my head, but it totally does every time. So that's my first one.
Yeah, man, that's a good one. It's also a really good scene because it's clear that Moira Kelly's like one of the guys, and she's having casual sex. Women are just like, man, it's totally fine. And then, but Brendan Fraser's like definitely secretly interested in her, and all he does is just type on his computer all the time and hang out with his bum friend.
Right.
And so, and like, I just like if I could tell like teenage me anything, it would be invest in Amazon. And if I could tell teenage me two things, it would be like, don't have crushes on your female friends. That shit's not going to work. It's a total waste of time. But so I felt that because I remember that. And she's like, hey, come in the shower while I'm shaving my legs, and you can see my whole body through this curtain when you clearly never get any action, and I'm going to give you some advice.
Oh, man. And she knew what she was doing.
Yeah, she definitely knew. Yeah, you do love that line. I was just looking at it, man. We don't, like, I had a huge crush on Moira Kelly back in the day, and I don't think we're going to do another movie of hers. I'm looking at, like The Tie That Binds. I'm not doing that. Like,
I don't even remember.
And then a bunch of stuff, like Lion King sequel. I'm not doing that.
Like this and Topic are the only things, like, I don't think we're going to do anymore.
No, but it was mainly The Cutting Edge because I owned that movie and I watched it a million times. Yeah. And this movie, which I really liked. And then,
Topic.
Again, on The West Wing, she was back. And I was like, she's back. She's still awesome. But yeah, man.
Dude, she's still doing stuff.
She's still doing stuff. But
that's awesome.
But I'm saying on the podcast, I don't think we're going to hit it again anytime soon.
We're not.
My first quote is also about Monty and Courtney, Brendan Fraser, and Moira Kelly.
Yeah.
And it's they're at the pajama party, and she gets in an argument with her not boyfriend and storms out wearing some lingerie. Yeah. Titties hanging out a little bit. You threw your vet out naked?
Wait, you threw a vet out naked?
She massages shit.
How the hell are we supposed to do Bad Boys next year and only pick 3 quotes? Come on.
We're going to have like 35 quotes. It's going to be amazing. But
we're quoting it in this movie. There's no way.
But Brendan Fraser walks out. Fraser walks out and kisses her, and she goes, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm ending our friendship." I was like, that's a great line.
Yeah, it's good.
Truth be told, I could lose the entire romantic subplot of this movie, and it wouldn't make it any different for me. But that is a great line.
Good. Yeah, I know. But I like that little tension right there and how.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like it was kind of shoehorned in there just so that one of the roommates could be an attractive woman. And then the studio was like, well, they probably have to kiss at some point, otherwise people aren't going to go.
People aren't going to fall for it if they don't make out.
Yeah, so I was fine with it, but I think the movie would be just as good without it, truthfully.
Yeah.
So that was my first quote.
Nice. My second one is from the same scene, the classroom scene, where he asked the professor, Pitt Cannon, asks Joe Pesci to leave, and he says, "Which door do I leave from?" He goes, "At Harvard, we don't end our sentences with prepositions." He says, "Okay, which door do I leave from, asshole?" That was money. He delivered it perfect, too.
Dude, and the whole class is like giving him a standing ovation. That's great.
Yeah.
Totally not realistic, but I loved it.
Right, dude, but seriously, what's not to love about Joe Pesci's voice?
Yeah,
freaking
and
love it.
I think that you should be able to call anyone who lectures you about ending sentences with prepositions an asshole.
Yeah. Because grammar Nazi is just too long to say. You don't want to say that.
Yeah, and plus some people now take Nazi as a compliment, so you never know. You want to run into them.
Man.
My next two quotes are also from Joe Pesci, Simon Wilder, and it's he's just telling Brendan Fraser at one point. I think he's like living in their van down by the river in their backyard.
Yeah,
and he's like, Harvard, most people don't live; they just exist.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, dude, he's just dropping freaking pithy wisdom throughout the whole movie. He was just spouting out epigraphs. It was great.
The whole time I was just picturing the guy writing this, eating at Chinese restaurants every day for lunch, and every time he opened a fortune cookie, it was another thing that Joe Pesci could say. They were always short, right to the point.
Yeah.
Like very Confucius-like.
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't put it in here, but when you said the van, I thought for sure you were going to go with the one where him and Patrick Dempsey are talking about fixing the van. So, didn't you run a savings and loan? Because he's going back and forth with the wine, and he's
like, I'll give you 6 bottles of wine, and Pesci's like, 8. He's like, 7. Pesci's like, 8. And he's like, 9, but that's my final offering. And Joe Pesci's like, did you run a savings and loan?
That was great. Yeah. All right. So my third one, Jeff, who is the fourth one, walks in on Joe Pesci on the toilet, and he gets frightened and he yells, "Holy shit!" And he stands up and looks down. And he goes, "Do you think so? It looks like the regular garden variety to me." God, I freaking love that. So I went with that one.
Yeah. Yeah, Win a Date with Tad Hamilton's younger brother, Josh, was only there to be always upset and or scared when Joe Pesci was around, just to be the person who's like, he's stinky, I don't like him, make him go away, which is, I think, how most of us feel about homeless people typically.
But doesn't that set it up perfectly for later when he's like, hey, Monty, can I come too? Like, to go ride with him?
Yeah, because Joe Pesci cooked him some French toast, and they chatted about life, and he's like, hey, look, he's a real person, he just happens to be smelly.
But man, I don't know why that part hit me in the feels too. Right as he asked if he could come.
Yeah, dude, that was great. The whole movie is Brendan Fraser trying to get his dissertation done, and then the day the dissertation is due, he decides to take Joe Pesci on a drive to see his kid, and then Win a Date is like, what about your dissertation? It's due today. And Brendan Fraser's like, well, I guess I'm not going to turn it in. And he just walks out the door. I was like, that's awesome. He's growing as a person, even though he's not going to fail out of Harvard. He's not going to fail out. He's just not going to get an extra sash when he graduates.
Yeah. Wasn't Pitt Cannon, though, going to like give him something or like help him out more or something?
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't. I couldn't understand what they were doing. So that's my third one. That is my third quote.
Oh, that's your third one?
Yeah.
My third one was when they're in the library, the scene you were talking about earlier, and Brendan Fraser is just like, he's like, why'd you call me a loser? And Joe Pesci goes, winners forget they're in a race. They just love to run. He's like, you try too hard.
Yeah, that's a good. I wrote that one down in my notes, but it didn't make the cut for me. But I did like that.
But I like that. It's true, man. Brendan Fraser was try hard and way before that was the thing. I still don't understand why I'm supposed to take that as an insult for people to try hard at stuff, but the kids assure me that it is an insult.
There are people that answer all of the like rhetorical questions I answer in class, and they'll just go like, "All right, man, we get it. Damn, try hard." I'm like, "Oh, he knows stuff. Is that why you're mad at him? Shut up. Just
Yeah, what do you how do you think life is going to go if your value system is to not ever try anything?
Yeah.
That's not rhetorical. I'm asking you, Jeff, that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand why they hate that, but they definitely do.
A little confusing. All right,
yeah,
man. Let's do characters. Our top 3 characters. Number 1 for me, and probably also you, is Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci, God, he's
Simon Wilder.
Who doesn't love a homeless man with a?
But they're all homeless and stinky. Well, I need some of that.
A homeless man with a sharp wit and a heart full of wisdom. Who doesn't love that?
And a bottle of wine in a brown paper bag. It's great.
Yeah, the ghost of Walt Whitman.
He's complaining about the oatmeal. He's taking baths, wearing a Viking helmet, singing "My eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord."
It's roughage. Eat it. I like how his bum friend that came in. Are we allowed to call them bums?
I don't know.
Somebody
That's
told me
what
I'm
they
not
call
allowed
them
to
in
call
the
people
movie.
hobos. Did you know that? Hobos.
I think
not a
hobos
thing
is
anymore?
is only if you're riding on a train.
Oh, got it.
I think that's it. You got to be a boxcar hobo.
Hobo. So anyway, his bum friend shows up with the rest of his thesis and gives it to him. He's like, Simon said you would give me some food, no roughage. I was like, oh man, he even remembered that he hated the oatmeal that much.
Yeah.
But of course, if you remember like one night of sleep, I guess remembering that you ate some really crappy oatmeal would also be a thing. What about the part where Brendan Fraser realizes he left and he put the oatmeal on the top of the thing and he hits it and it shatters the bowl?
Yeah, I saw that.
That's burned into my memory too. I don't know why. I remember that part a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that part was actually kind of strange to me because all he did was like tell a white lie about why Simon couldn't sleep inside. And then he's like, "You lied, I'm leaving." Like, I think that was like I wish they would have done some better reason for him to leave than that. That was pretty weak, I thought.
He didn't want him to lie to him. Don't lie to me, Hovind. Dude, Joe Pesci's my first one too. He freaking kills it.
Dude.
What's not great about Joe Pesci? Are we going to do more? Are we going to do more of his movies?
Are we going to do some of the Lethal Weapon sequels?
Oh yeah, Lethal Weapon sequels. Casino's next year.
Yeah,
8 Heads in a Duffel Bag is 97. We got to do that.
We'll definitely do 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag. I think Casino is. We'll probably do Casino. Like freaking De Niro, Joe Pesci, Sharon Stone, Kevin Pollak, Don Rickles. We're probably going to do that.
James Woods is in there too. Yeah. I hope we do some more. We'll hit more of his stuff going backwards, won't we?
We'll hit some stuff on Patreon.
Yeah, he's got some stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh, he's in Moonwalker in '88. We missed that.
Yes, we did. I wouldn't say I'm missing it.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
Second character. Who's your second?
Dude, I put Monty Kessler, Brendan Fraser.
Me too. Brendan Fraser's my jam.
Learning life lessons, unexpected mentor. He's doing all the things. I thought he played it really well. Also, I can't imagine why anybody doesn't like Brendan Fraser.
Dude, I can't either. And I also, I mean, personally, obviously, because I think he's super likable, but also, like, if you look at his movies, for me anyway, there are really not any misses on there. Like, he's just, all of his stuff is awesome.
Yeah. Did you, what's the George of the Jungle? Like, stuff like that.
George of the Jungle, well, when we get into that era, he starts to kind of like tail off a little bit.
Yeah.
But all this early 90s, mid-90s stuff, like I'm trying to go back. Like he's freaking incredible in Scrubs. Me and you love Bedazzled, maybe more than anyone loves Bedazzled. Blast from the Past. God, my star's a Negro. Yeah, George of the Jungle I could skip, but there's not much else. And everything you see, he's awesome. The Mummy?
Yeah, the
like
Mummy
that one.
I want to do. We could probably skip the Looney Tunes one, any of that.
Yeah, and we did skip this year. We skipped Airheads and The Scout, which I feel fine about.
I liked Airheads, and I'm sure my sister's going to be super upset that we didn't do Adam Sandler movie. But
I would have done either of those. We just didn't have time.
Yeah, we didn't.
We had to get to Time Cop and The Chase. and Legends of the Fall.
Oh man, freaking a river runs through its 6.
We had stuff to do.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, dude, I can't wait to do more Brendan Fraser.
Absolutely agreed. Who's your third?
So I was torn because I wanted to pick Moira Kelly as Courtney Blumenthal, I think is her last name. She, because she played it really well, and I know that you said like, oh, they just needed a hot face, so they needed to have it like a little make them fall in love. But I think she played it really well, and I think she had a bigger part in it than like Patrick Dempsey or Tad Hamilton's older brother. So like I went with Moira Kelly. I almost went with Pitt Cannon because that guy, he was
Gore Vidal Sassoon.
Yeah, Gore Vidal.
He was awesome, man. He was awesome. I also, we're 3 for 3. I went Moira Kelly because I love Moira Kelly, and I think she's really good in this. She's one of the guys. She's also super cute. She's like, she's got the heart, she's telling Brendan Fraser, like, you work too hard, and like, bring him some freaking oatmeal, and like, Tad Hamilton, stop being a dick. Like, she's the heart of the house.
Bring him another blanket. Go out there and bring him one. So I went with Moira Kelly.
Nice. 3 for 3. Writer director, the William Mastro Simone is the writer. This is one of his few screenwriting credits, but he's written like about a dozen plays. He wrote like one other movie that I have not heard of, which came out in 1986 with Farrah Fawcett. It's called Extremities. Extremities,
yeah. But that was based on a play that he wrote, I think.
Based on a play that he wrote. And then he wrote a 2005 miniseries called Into the West that was produced by Spielberg that I have never heard of.
Looks like what's the movie with Tatanka? Dances with Wolves. That's what the cover looks like. So
yes, I'm out.
So yeah, probably gonna go ahead and skip that one.
I don't got that kind of time. But this movie's really well written, man. This is a good script. I wish I don't know if he didn't get more opportunities or if he just decided like this job's too hard. I want to go sell tires. I don't know what the plan was, but this script is really good.
You're thinking of the lead singer of Color Me Badd.
I'm always thinking of that. I'm like, how'd that guy go from being in Color Me Badd to managing a tire shop? We need to get him on the podcast.
Oh, man. He was on the Biggin diet. That was the problem.
Yeah, it's like, should I have a 64-ounce Dr. Pepper with every meal? Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Who's that, diabetes? I'm ready.
He's got type 4. He's trying to win diabetes.
Take me now, Satan.
Dude, the guy who is the director is actually graduated from Harvard. I like that. That's kind of cool.
Yes, he did. What's his name?
His name is Alec
Keshishian. He's
that's a good way. Yeah,
he's Armenian, I think.
Yeah,
he got his first directing job because of Madonna, and it ended up being directing her documentary in 1991, Truth or Dare, which at the time was the highest grossing documentary of all time, and stayed that way for like 10 years.
That's because she showed her boobs.
Yeah, that'll do it. Back in the early 90s.
14-year-old me said.
That was what Madonna was mostly known for around my household back in those days.
She's a singer? Oh, my gosh.
And she's named after someone from the Bible, Jesus' mom. We're all going to hell. Let me turn this VHS upside down when I put it in the shelf. That way it's not as sinful. And then he also shot a documentary with Selena Gomez in 2019, and it was mainly because she like kind of pulled him out of retirement because she really loved the Truth or Dare doc.
Right. I'm gonna.
He's got the Harvard connection.
Selena
Gomez.
I'm gonna pretend like I know who that is.
He's got the Madonna connection. He's got the Harvard
videos,
connection.
Though.
Yeah, he did a lot of music videos.
Bobby Brown, Run DMC, Elton John.
Nice.
All jams.
Absolutely. But that's it, man. This is a pretty simple, like, sparse production. Not a lot of stuff going on. They shot a lot of it in other places, like at Northwestern in Chicago. They shot a little bit on Harvard, but not a ton.
Yeah. Did you, the girl who asked Joe Pesci to dance at the pajama party, that chick, her name is Claudia Haro, Haro. She was married to Joe Pesci at the time.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Do you have any other? I have a couple a little bit more bonus good.
Yeah, I have one more that I wanted to say.
So the first one I've got is that I did some looking at Harvard theses. And it turns out they really are required by most departments for undergraduates to graduate, quote unquote, with honor. Although it depends on the department what the requirements are. But I found a couple of interesting ones. The government department, which is where Brendan Fraser was graduating from, has a limit of no more than 150 pages, which they instituted after a senior turned in a 350-page dissertation.
Good Lord.
And that senior's name was Henry Kissinger.
Good Lord. Come on, Hank. Freaking ruining it for everybody. Now we all want to write long stuff. No,
now we all go to war with Vietnam.
Why can't we be more concise? Like, I don't understand. Like, I guess I wish I had that problem because I ask kids for 15 sentences. They either give me 3 with no punctuation or they use AI and give me 4 pages.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess that's the difference. But, dude, 350 pages is a lot.
Yeah. Well, dude, I mean, that's Henry Kissinger. That's the guy who ends up being Nixon's Secretary of State.
Right. But still.
Another unusual Harvard dissertation was from a 1986 literature and film major, and instead of writing a paper, he chose to adapt Emily Bronte's novel Wuthering Heights and turn it into a play. And then he cast and put on that play at the Loeb Drama Theater in Harvard Square, and that student's name was Alex Keshishian, who directed this movie.
Nice. Did he graduate with honors then?
Presumably.
Yeah, nice.
I didn't find a picture of him with the extra sash, but I'm guessing that worked.
Yeah, that probably worked. I didn't have to write a thesis, but if I did, mine would be on Sanskrit, 2,000-year-old dead language.
Latin, best I can do.
Oh, man.
If only anyone could watch PCU, because it's nowhere, they could get that joke. But you can hear us talk about it on this podcast earlier this year.
You can watch us, listen to us talk about it. Dude, it was filmed in the winter.
Can you blow me where the Pampers is?
I'm sorry, what did you say? It's filmed in the winter of 93. They had a meter of snow on the ground in Harvard Square. But when Mr. Kashishishian looked at it, he said it didn't look real. Like, it didn't look like real snow. So they cleared all of that snow out and brought in artificial snow. So every time you see it snowing and it's on Harvard's campus, they had to remove all that snow, and that's all fake snow.
The funny thing is that it actually looks like fake snow on film to me, and the real snow probably would have looked like real snow.
Right. Anybody who's seen real snow. Like, I could tell.
Dude,
when
it
he
snows
fell,
in Armenia. This dude should know that.
Yeah. He just didn't like the way it looked, so he changed it. Bring in
Control
the
freak.
It's probably made of asbestos. Now we're all going to
get now everyone is eligible to big loads of cash from mesothelioma.
Hello, my name is Marvin A. Gunneth.
Are you an American between the ages of 0 and 127? Do you have any worst?
Oh man, no. But can I mention? I don't have worst, but we have old tech right under that.
Yeah.
His freaking computer gone to the // thesis.
He was typing // thesis. I was like, oh my God.
Dude, I don't know the last time I thought about like the command prompt like that. That's awesome. And then when he's
that was some MS-DOS shit.
When he's printing it, and it's the old dot matrix, and it's got the holes on the side to feed the paper through that you have to peel off. Man, that brought me back. I love it.
Yeah, and then Moira Kelly was like his tech support. She's like, yeah, your hard drive's totally fried, like she was in CSI. And he was like, well, I got to go.
Yeah. No, it's too late.
I have to go right now at 11 p.m. across campus to go photocopy, Xerox my thesis.
Yeah, when he said photocopy, I was like, oh, no. Maybe he's making... What was the thing that back in the... Your mom
mimeographs? You had to like crank the handle?
The purple one? No, what's the purple one? That's the mimeograph?
I think that's a mimeograph. Smelled great? Yeah, it smelled amazing. See, this is what's cool, because we grew up in the era when dangerous stuff would smell really good, and now they know not to do that.
Now they know not to do...
Because kids will eat Tide Pods if they even look good. And it's like, dude, I would have drank that mimeograph liquid because it smelled amazing.
Oh, dude. Mimeograph is what it's called. That's the one that came out purple.
Yeah, dude.
When you would write out the thing. You remember? Like...
Yes.
And it had like the piece between it, and then you set that in there and crank it.
Yeah, dude, you would hand crank the thing like a friggin' old school washing machine.
Good God, we're old.
Yeah, dude.
That's
Absolutely.
Awesome. Mimeographs. I'm going to see if I can buy one of those on eBay. Bring it to school. Ask some kids, hey, can you make some copies for me?
5 questions. Is it okay for kids?
Dude, I don't think like anybody I feel could watch this. I just don't.
I don't think they would. I don't think they would like it, but
Yeah, they probably wouldn't
in there.
enjoy it until they're
Yeah.
probably 13, 15, somewhere in there. But they could watch it. You could watch it with them if they're in the room. You could watch it.
Yeah. Would it get made if it were pitched now?
I don't know. Isn't homelessness still a problem? Don't they have social issues that they could discuss?
Yeah, dude. I think I don't see like this story. I mean, other than the tech being better, he probably would have his shit immediately backed up to the cloud.
Right.
But otherwise, this would totally work. I mean, it would totally work as a movie now. I think it would also work as a play.
Yeah,
because it's just 5 people, and you could easily get rid of one of the roommates, and it all takes place basically in their apartment or on a fake outdoor Harvard campus set.
There's very few changes in the setting. Yeah. But it's got to be a movie, right? Third question.
Oh,
movie
yeah.
or TV. It's got to be a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you redo it?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, I was thinking for Professor Pitcairn instead of Gore Vidal Sassoon, Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons.
Because he's, like, super sarcastic and, like, could dress up fancy.
It's weird you picked a British person.
Yeah.
Because they had, like, 7 different British people that were up for this role, and Joe Pesci kept saying no to every single one because he wanted an American actor to play.
Nice.
So that's pretty weird that you went with Jeremy Irons. But I like it.
And then the other person I thought of was for Moira Kelly, Florence Pugh.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's got that, like, she could be one of the guys. She's got short hair, but also, like, the main character definitely secretly in love with her.
Right. Did you redo it, Joe Pesci or Brendan Fraser?
No, I had a hard time coming up with anybody for those two. I was like, I was
trying to think of somebody who could look scruffy but still not make you want to turn away. And I thought of Oscar Isaac. You know what I'm talking about? The guy from like Moon Knight and all that.
Yeah.
I think he could do it because I think he's funny. But then I also think that he could play homeless and you wouldn't want to go like, oh, all right, that's enough. Like, here's $1, get away from me. Kind of like how people think of homeless people. But dude, I don't know who to do Brendan Fraser. Like who? Timothy Chalamet? I don't know.
That's what I was going to say. Everybody I came up with is like Timothy Chalamet just because they put him in every movie. But like I think there's a better answer than that. But I mean, I like Timothy Chalamet, but I don't think he's Brendan Fraser.
No, he's not. He could probably
Fraser. He's never going to come on the podcast. I cannot say his last name.
Fraser.
It's like Schwarzenegger. I just can't do it.
Yeah, Fraser. Yeah, good call. I like that. Do you bring McDreamy back as an old person to play some other part?
Yeah, dude. That's funny that he is. I mean, it's a good role, and he does a good job. But we didn't really talk about Patrick Dempsey at all.
Yeah,
but I just kept being like, "Hey, that's Patrick Dempsey." Forgot about him.
I like how he's always basing women on wine. Great.
This is a good script. These characters are like well fleshed out. Everyone's doing a good job.
Yeah.
Question number 5: Can you still watch and enjoy this movie in 2024?
Dude, come on, man! Human connection, freaking personal growth. What more do you want? I don't understand.
And it's available on Amazon Prime with one commercial, so you don't have to pay money for it if you pay for Amazon Prime, which obviously costs money.
And obviously, I think everybody does because I was behind like 6 Amazon vans on the way home.
Not everyone does because Vanderbilt University, where I work, does not pay for Amazon Prime. If I order stuff from Amazon, it comes regular, old school, slow. I think it's like what do they call it when they bring it on a pony? Pony Express.
Pony Express.
I'm like, I could have driven to wherever they made this and gotten it myself in the time it took to get here. What are we doing?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, if you haven't seen this, go watch it. And if you have seen it, watch it again. You'll still love it just like you did before.
Yeah, I recommend it. All right, next, so we'll come out with our, probably next thing that'll happen is we'll do Die Hard on Patreon next week. Free trial if you want to check it out. $5 if you want to support. And then we'll do our Nathan's Award for 94 movies. 94 podcast movies. We're not going to award any movie we didn't do on the podcast. That'll come out in the next couple weeks.
Are we going to talk about why they're called the Nathans again? Because somebody at
Yeah.
work asked me. We should definitely mention that.
Absolutely. And then we may not
Can't believe that.
we may not have time for like a 95 here's what was happening year in review episode. We might just jump right into 95 movies because we're getting pretty close to the end of the year at this point.
And we got so many movies to do. We need to jump right into it. Get going.
Yeah, and we also got to start doing our 87 Patreon movies because during the few weeks when Jeff is not teaching school is a good time for us to bang out a bunch of episodes. So
Yeah.
but that'll be the schedule. Nathan's Award and probably right into 95 stuff. And then bonus Christmassy stuff from 1988 on Patreon.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Thank
What
you
else?
guys for listening. Vaya con Dios.
Vaya con Dios. 94.
Thanks for listening to Movie Life Crisis. Please subscribe, rate, and review. And remember, don't drive angry.